In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 68 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're talking with Denise Davis, a director at Polygroup. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy.
Denise.
Good morning.
That's right. I've got the name right.
Yes.
Denise, welcome to the Swell Pod and the Kiln Road Trip. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Happy to be here.
Yeah, you're one of the 100. And
number
67.
one. Not number 1.
Well, you're number one in our hearts. Yeah.
Well, 67 has a really good meaning. I'll let you know at the end.
Okay.
So let's start with Denise. If you can just introduce your full name and what you do and why you do it.
Sure. So Denise Davis, I work for Polygroup North America, and I am the director here. I oversee a team of 10 people. I like to say I support them. I look at leadership a little bit differently. And so we manufacture artificial pre-lit Christmas trees. And then to offset our seasonality, we do above ground swimming pools and pool products in the summertime. And so our team is responsible for all the behind the scenes work. We have some offshore teams that we work with. And so we do all the systems and process for those, the software that they use.
That's awesome. So busy time for you right now.
We are going into peak week, like Black Friday weekend through Cyber Monday. That's our big volume weekend as far as like supporting consumers and customers.
Yeah, because isn't there a lighting ceremony tonight? Christmas lighting. No, I don't think it's Kiln. I think it's in the community.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. Anyway,
sure.
Something.
We don't know. But it's Christmas season.
It's Christmas.
It's always me. I've given him a hard time. It was like Grinch the other night. It's like, you don't put Christmas trees out and lights out. It's all the first of December.
So I say it's Christmas 365 days because it is for us.
Yeah. We put our Christmas tree up October 1st, and we decorate it for Nightmare Before Christmas.
I love it. Oh my gosh, my daughter loves that movie. Yeah. She's the biggest fan. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, anyway, yeah, but no, so this crazy time of year for you. But yeah, so how did you find yourself doing this? Yeah.
Such a great question.
Yeah?
So, you know that saying, it's not about what you know, it's who you know?
Yeah.
It goes true for working with Polygroup. So I've always been in the industry of customer service and call centers, and I've worked pretty much in every area of those. And so Polygroup was looking to bring their customer service and warranty division in-house. Somebody made a connection for me to their VP, and a few weeks later, I was getting a visa and a passport and going to Hong Kong. So,
whoa.
And here I am 12 years later. I just had Halloween was my 12-year anniversary with Polygroup.
Well, congratulations.
So, thank you.
That's awesome.
It's really been a wild ride. It's been a great ride, though. I feel very blessed to work for Polygroup.
Yeah.
So founded in, did you say?
Actually, we were founded by, we have a really cool story about how we came about almost 30 years ago. So our owner, Paul, and his son, Lewis was very young, and they were in a retail store, and he wanted a Christmas tree, and they couldn't afford it. And so Paul looked at Lewis and said, one day I will make you a Christmas tree. And here we are. 30 years later.
My goodness.
And so I kind of get chills when I tell that story. It's actually on our corporate website. Yeah. And so Paul's the owner. Lewis was our global CEO, but he's moved on to a different role. And it's a very family type of company. And so it's not a true corporate America like we are used to working in, right? Yeah. So we're not like top heavy like a lot of companies, and it's like they have this saying, like, once you have a seat on the bus, you always have a seat on the bus, and so they're very deep rooted in their values. And so it's been a great ride with them. So.
That's really cool.
So they mentioned affordability. Is that part of their values? I mean, to be able to...
Yeah, I mean, because we do private label manufacturing, so if you go into a retail store, it's going to be their brand, but we're the manufacturer of it. So, right now we're up against the economy, unfortunately, and so we're still putting a lot of volume out there, but it's really retail that drives that price point. But I would say if you think about almost every big box retailer that's out there, they purchase products from us.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
You might have a poly group tree in your home.
I would. I do. Yeah.
How many?
All sizes of trees?
Yes, all sizes, all colors, all shapes, all sizes. We even have a tree that grows.
What?
Yeah.
An artificial tree that grows?
Yeah, it's called a grow-in stow. So it'll grow from about 7.5 feet to 9 feet.
How?
It's the way it's mechanical. There's a pull and pull connection. And the way so you just push your remote and it grows. And if you want it to go a little bit shorter, then it shrinks down.
That's cool. I understand now.
What you're saying, just
did you think it was just like
January 1st? It's like, who wants
their tree to just grow over like a period of a year? No, that's cool. But it's
though. Pre-lit.
That makes sense.
It's pre-lit, and so that makes a difference, right? So that's the way all of our lights on our pre-lit trees, they are hand wrapped by by our workers. And so, there's a lot of time and there's a lot of human contact with our products. I mean, doing some more robotics, but really there's a lot of human involvement in that. So, it's a grow and stow.
When my wife and we got married, my grandmother gave me her Christmas tree and it fit really well into our house. It was a pre-lit Christmas tree. Some of the lights weren't working and I'm not really good at figuring out how to fuse it and stuff like that. So I kept the tree because it means a lot. And I pulled off all the lights and all the attachments to all the branches. And man, those things are wrapped really well.
They are.
Yeah.
They truly are.
I don't know who made that tree, but maybe. But yeah.
I've shown our team, not all of them have been able to go to Hong Kong and into China where our factories are, but we also have like operations in like Mexico and things, but to watch them and what it takes, the patience that it takes and how fast they wrap them is truly impressive.
Is it pretty fast?
Yeah, it's very fast.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dang.
They have to when you think about all the pre-lits we make. So almost every tree we put in the market's pre-lit.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Interesting. So I don't know, a couple of different directions here. What was your childhood memory from Christmas trees?
Well, for me, it was always special where we went and cut down a tree.
Yeah, that is nice.
And so, but really, I mean, if you look at the way things are, I'm in the world of artificial, so why not have an artificial? But, also too, it's just, I think, as a society, we've kind of moved away from that. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no tree farms. Like you could, here, I mean, I was raised in Southeast Texas, but coming into Idaho, you could go up into the mountains and there'd be tree farms and you could cut, and pull it out. And there's just not a lot of those. Right. And so I always just times with my family where we would go and cut down a tree and, drag it, tie it on the top of the car, right? Yeah. Drag it inside and then clean up all the dead needles.
Yeah.
That is nice. Yeah. And the smell was always really good back then.
Absolutely. But now we sell scent sticks that smell like trees and you just put them in your artificial tree.
Yeah, there we go. So we got a tree that's growing and smelling. My mom would do, the ceremony of, we did the putting them on the car, but I actually think the biggest and best part was music, get, record player on.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Open fire, whatever, and then just decorating the tree. Yeah. But my mum would try all sorts of different things. Like one year we had to thread popcorn.
Oh yes, yeah.
We would, until it like completely, and,
absolutely. And we used to make these little ornaments with beads. And so my mom would go to Michael's craft store and she'd get pipe cleaners and beads and all these different things. And so we did a lot of those kind of like do-it-yourself ornaments.
That's awesome.
I think our dog ate the popcorn the year after. But anyway, interesting. Well, so tell me more about, I'll give you two different directions. Sure. Innovation, tell us about the innovation, and which sounded that this tree was going to grow, like even delight and surprise. And how did that happen? But any other innovations you're doing, or tell me a bit more about the family kind of culture that you have within this company. How does it, you said, it's kind of a family thing. It's not, but what, how, why?
Yeah. I think if you look at, I've worked in like corporate America, and I've worked for some really, really big corporations before joining, Poly Group. And I think, some of the times in corporate America and in other corporations, you can get really top heavy, right? And it makes it really hard to implement change, whereas in some organizations I've worked for, you have all these red lines and you got to it could take you 3 to 6 months, right? And so I think with Poly Group, where going back to that, once you have a seat on the bus, you always have a seat on the bus. They trust you, right? And so like here, the team that I support, and even we contract to the nearshore teams, but we consider them part of us as well, right? We want them to be a part of Poly Group. And so I think it's that ability where they enable us to and empower us to make decisions, right? They trust us to do that. I don't need to go wait 30 days to get approval on something, right? Because we are not super layered, like you'll have a manager and then a senior manager and then a VP and then a senior VP, and there could be directors in between. And then before you get to the business owner, there's a lot that you have to go through. And so I think they are very trusting. And when they see how hard you work and how committed you are to them, they are that way to us, right?
That's
we
great.
get a lot of, work-life balance is very important to me.
Yeah.
I've gone through some things in my life and, I've realized that it's not about grinding every single day. There's more to life than just your job. And so we're able to do that for our team members, and that team down there, we always say we work hard, we play hard, right? And so, and they're very supportive of that. They know that they trust that we will get our work done and that we do it and we always do the right thing. That's kind of a motto within like our company, is just do the right thing. If you do the right thing, we're good to go, and so they just really instill that. And I've had the opportunity, like the owners, Paul and Grace, that's the owners and his wife, and they will come to Boise, they come out, they will talk with the teams. They love to go to Golf Galaxy. They're big golfers. So we take them to Golf Galaxy or to wherever that might be. But they are just, I don't think you find better people than those two. And they have just instilled that throughout the entire company.
That's cool.
Just a quick, give me one example of doing the right thing. Like, because obviously a lot of people do say, hey, we have these values and we do. Yeah. But anything that jumps to your mind? If not, we'll.
We really enforce this with the teams that talk to our consumers. So you have a consumer who goes and buys a product from Home Depot and they're having some problems with it, right? So when they call in and they make that connection with us, we're not just representing Poly Group, we're representing the retailer as well, right? So that it's ensuring that however you choose, to troubleshoot or what you need to do, that you're doing the right thing to take care of that customer, because the experience that they have with us is a direct reflection on the retailer, whoever that might be. And so we want those agents just to go into an interaction saying, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm not going to take a shortcut. I'm not going to not assist the customer, right? Because that just generates frustration. And, the holiday, it's a very short window of time, right? It's not like summer where we have 3 or 4 months. And so there's always that urgency, and the tree's not lighting or something like that. And we want it fixed and we need it done. And so we really try to get them to understand, put yourself in that consumer who's got a holiday party, right? Or maybe they're going to take family pictures over the weekend around that tree, because the tree is kind of the focal point, right? Yeah. That's kind of what it's around, the family is around, right? Yeah. And so we try to get them to put themselves in that person's shoes and understand that sense of urgency to take care of them and do it right the first time. Yeah,
that's so important. It's not easy to do sometimes, but it sounds
always.
like you guys are trying to do that and live it.
Yeah, it's cool. So you guys are based out of Kiln, or this
so we just had Poly Group North America. Actually, we're a pretty small team. I think we were just over like maybe 50-55.
Okay.
And so we have obviously we do manufacturing in mainland China.
Yeah.
We have a warehouse in Texas.
Okay.
And we have factories where we manufacture in Juarez as well.
Okay. Awesome.
And we're spreading our wings in other places, but I cannot share that information.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah.
What do you enjoy about Kiln? But why Kiln?
You know what I think with Kiln, it allows us to interact. We get a lot of people. So we had a Christmas tree in our office, and it had like swim floats on it. And people will always stop by and be like, why do you have swim floats on a Christmas tree? And we're like, because we make both.
That
so
makes sense.
we actually took the tree down. It was a little too big. We're getting a smaller one.
Yeah.
But I think it just allows us to interact with other people in the community. Kiln is great about building this environment. It's almost like a small little town. That's what we say.
Yeah.
They feed us a little light snack and a little light breakfast. And, and you're up there and you're talking to people. And, some people work in real estate and some people work in, insurance and, or there's Western states where they're running machinery, and so it allows us to meet other people, in the Valley. We had offices in downtown Boise, and it's just a completely different experience. And so we're excited. We were actually one of the first few companies that moved in. So we were here when no one else was here.
Yeah, interesting. Like a village.
Yeah, it's like a small little
which
village.
I didn't think. I mean, it's the same as a community, but really, it's different. Slightly different feeling. You say it's completely different, and it's really helped do something for you guys.
I mean, I think it's exposed our team, so they hold different events here. They offer like a little boxing or yoga, or they'll have they'll come around with the, trays and hand. I think it just builds that little community that, it's like, just because we're a company, we can learn from others too. I have had team members at their seminars, and they'll go, right, and they meet people, and then they learn new skill sets. And so I just think there's a lot that we take away from being here.
Yeah, that's great.
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the Kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Camper Vans, a luxury camper van rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra camper vans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
Also, ensure energy security with backup power during outages.
reduce carbon emissions with renewables,
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
and enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your tourist station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at tourist.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. So the last question that we like to ask everybody that comes on the podcast is, what does it take? So usually what we ask, we have three ways to look at it. What does it take to create something that never existed before, create a movement, or challenge the status quo? I think it'd be interesting. You can answer it in whichever way you want. It's interesting considering, artificial Christmas trees, pre-lit Christmas trees has challenged the status quo from what you guys had just talked about, cutting down your trees.
That's true.
But I would love to know your thoughts on, either way you want to take it. What does it take to do any of those?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think it's going out and listening to other people. We can all have this idea and try to move forward with it. But I think in order to really create some sort of movement or to change, you got to go out and you've got to relate to people and you've got to understand their side of, their side of it too, not just your own. Right. And then I think once you have those conversations and you really start to do the work to figure out what position that is, then I think it can do one of two things. It can help make that movement, right? Or it could sway the other against it. And so I think that I'm big on communication. I think we learn so much in communicating. And I just think that's key behind most of those things. It's just talking to others and not just holding yourself to this is what I believe. You have to be open-minded.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in two ways. One, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.